In my district, at the start of each new year, we have a district-wide discussion about CAP scores and CMT results and our place in the Derg. Remember that episode of Star Trek where they went to the planet of the Dergs? Yeah. We are the Dergs. We have come for your strands and objectives. Bones, this is Captain Kirk. Can't you do anything to stop them? I'm just a country teacher, Jim, not a statistician. Scotty, down in the control room, what about you? Oh, Captain, I've seen their test scores. They don't know the laws of physics. Spock, can't you do anything? This reliance upon standardized test scores for teacher and student validation is highly illogical, Captain. Then we go back to our schools to meet in the data teams and talk about Common Core standards and aligning unit objectives and the like. All of this, CMTs, CAP, data teams, I submit to you, that's not your job. Those are your tasks, your duties, yes. Should they be completed and performed well? Of course they should. But that's not your job. Think back to when you first decided to get into this education racket. Think of that first day you stood in front of 20-some-odd smiling or hostile faces. Was it your dream to collect data for analysis by the team? Was it to align strands and objectives with formative assessments, or was it to make a difference in the life of a child? To take a young mind and open it up to a myriad of possibilities so that they could make their own lives better. That's your job. Don't let them take that away from you with all their measurements of accountability. Albert Einstein said, everything that can be counted does not necessarily count. Everything that counts cannot necessarily be counted. Now, when I was in college, I had a job one summer in Washington working as an intern for the US Senate. At the time, I was thinking about a career in politics or the law. I met some very powerful people. As I mentioned, I was an actor in LA for quite a while, and I met some very powerful people. But 2 weeks ago, when I was in Washington with Teachers of the Year from every state in the union, I knew that this was a room filled with people with real power, the power to change a life. Teaching, to me, is the most powerful profession. It is the profession that affects real change in individual lives, moment to moment, day to day, that can completely alter the trajectory of a child. Teachers are the most powerful agents of change in our society. All of the destructive elements of our world filter their way into the children in our classroom. Poverty, bigotry, violence, substance abuse. And we endeavor to make those kids' lives better. When children come to our door, we take them all. We don't turn them away. We do our utmost to improve their lives. We know that when parents put their sons or daughters on the bus or drop them at the school door, they are entrusting us with the most important thing in their lives, their children. I remember the first day back at school after December 14th. One of my colleagues said to me, I don't know if I could have done what those teachers did. And I told her what I'll tell you. I told her, of course you would. You're a teacher. That's what we do. We take care of kids. Now, a question I get a lot when I travel around these days is, what do you teach? My standard answer is 5th grade, just before they go bad. But the real answer for all of us teachers is not I teach math, or I teach science, or I teach kindergarten. What all of us teach is understanding. Whether it's understanding quadratic equations or quantum mechanics or the proud history and traditions of other cultures or conjugating verbs, it's all about understanding. It's about understanding the world around us and the people in it. If you understand something, you don't need to fear it. Without fear, the possibilities of cooperation and compassion open up and our planet becomes a better place. That's why we teach. That's why I do this job of shaping minds, this job of guiding children to a world of choices where they have the tools and the maps to journey in any number of directions to any number of potential destinations. That's the job I signed up for. Sure, I'll do the tasks and the duties and I'll do them well. But I don't want to be just part of a common core. I want to be part of an uncommon core. I want to use that core as a foundation of something much greater. Shakespeare's task was to write a play about 2 teenagers in love. He could have written, "Gee, Juliet, you're so pretty." Or, yo, Jules, let's hook up. We got a situation. But he didn't. He wrote, but soft, what light through yonder window breaks? It is the east, and Juliet is the sun. That's doing your job. Monet's task was to paint a pretty picture of some flowers. He could have painted this, but he painted this. That's doing your job. So I would ask you to remember why you wanted this job in the first place. It was to reach kids, to make that connection, to change a life. The best evidence of good teaching is not found in the classroom. It's not found in the data. It's found in the hearts and minds of the children you've taught. It's what they take with them when they leave the classroom. One of my favorite things a student ever said about me was, I remember things by how Mr. Messinger said them. To me, that's the best evidence of good teaching. Now, when I was at the White House a couple weeks ago, sorry, I just like to say that. Anyway, President Obama said, if there's one thing we can't say enough to our nation's educators, it is thank you. Well, I'd like to thank you, the CEA delegates and officers, for the incredibly important yet often underappreciated work you do to ensure that the teacher's voice is heard. Outside our classroom doors, there are a lot of people making a lot of noise about what we should be doing. But you know that once that classroom door closes, it's me and those kids. Nobody ever said, man, remember that great standardized assessment we took back in 5th grade? Or, I'm so glad I had a teacher that was evaluated as a 3. They say what my student Gabby said, he's the best teacher that ever happened to me. So thank you for all the things you do to ensure that great teachers happen to every kid. So in closing, I would ask you to think back to that teacher that you can still hear in your head, that you still carry with you. Be that teacher for someone this year. Many of you have children of your own. Be the teacher you want them to have this year. Be the teacher that those kids will remember. Kids like mine, my 2 beautiful boys who make me so proud. Look at the joy in their faces. They come to us that way. Don't let them lose that. Ladies and gentlemen, be that teacher that students remember. Be that teacher that makes kids go home and say, guess what we did in school today? Be that teacher who changes lives and makes the world a better place. One child, one family at a time. That's doing your job. Thank you very much.